It's only been a few minutes, but let's just get started anyways. Oh man. Ugh. Right, so last time on what am I saying? On the last episode of Danganronpa Z, right? Because the Z is a two. So we started yesterday with having Nagato dead. Mr. Hope and Despair Boy is dead. And then we come in, we're like, we go through everything, we're trying to find a way out. We see this fake version of Makoto, the protagonist of the last game. And then he's all like, you guys got this. And then we're all like, no, you're fake. And he's all like, ah, you got me. And they're all like, hey, Hajime, you're actually two people. And Hajime's like, what? My existence is just gone. And then Chiaki's like, it's okay. You got this. Believe in yourself. Find a new future. And Hajime's all like, yeah. That's last stream. That's everything that happened. That's all the plot points. What's up, Tutal? What's up, Lightning? How you doing, dudes? All right, so having finished Danganronpa 2, like base game, we unlocked IF. Let's go over to it. Let's go see what it has to offer. Do I want to load you? Yeah, right. Novel. Yeah, okay, so we got the trigger-happy Danganronpa IF. The button of hope and the tragic warriors of despair. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see what this has to offer, dude. Alright, so obviously, like, above us, we have Junko, right? To the right... Oh, and we have Fenrir. Okay, so to the left, my right, is Makuro, right? From the twin sisters from the first. Were they twin sisters? God, I don't remember. They were. Okay. Hi, Elthian. Welcome. They were twins. Cool. Yeah. Let's go with the character introduction first before we go from the beginning. See how things pan out. Oh, it gives us... Oh, shit. Okay. Aw. Okay. She is Japanese, in case you're wondering. Let's read through all these. Let's refamiliarize ourselves with the last cast, huh? Makoto Negi. A typical high school student with absolutely no remarkable talents or characteristics. He was randomly selected to attend Hope's Peak Academy from a pool of other unremarkable students. Kiyotaka Ishimaru, who was head of the Public Morals Committee at his previous high school, a noted college prep school. He is extremely strict towards lazy people and anyone who makes fun of working hard. Byakuya Tagami, he's not wearing glasses in this, it's in his hands. He looks so different with those glasses. Alright, a member of the family which controls the Tagami Corporation, an international mega conglomerate. As the heir to the family business, he was harshly raised to prepare for his duties. Mondo's wearing white? Didn't Mondo have a black coat? Why is he in white? At one point... Sorry, Mondo Owada. At one point, he led the biggest biker gang in Japan. He's a classic rebel with a heart of gold, and has his own strong sense of justice. He also has an undying admiration for his older brother. Lian Kuwata, also known as 11037. Despite his refusal to practice, he has enough natural talent that pro baseball scouts have already started courting him. Even though he's kind of obnoxious, it's hard to hate him. I just love his little, like, chin hairs. Hifumi Yamada. He has a certain charisma within the fanfiction industry and is very proud of the following he's cultivated. It's not quite a goatee though, right? Because that required it needs all the. It's just straight. Very proud of the following he's cultivated. At a local school festival, he sold over 10,000 copies of his latest creation, a stunning achievement by any measure. Yasuhiro Hagakure. He relies on his own intuition to form his predictions, resulting in an accuracy rate of about 30%. He's been held back a few times. Sayaka Maizono. Maizono. She's the lead singer in a world-famous pop group. Though she's the darling of a generation, she's managed to maintain her sweet, down-to-earth nature and is an absolute snake and one of the worst characters. I hated her so much. Kyoko Kirigiri. She's the only student at the school whose ultimate talent is unknown. She carries an intense beauty, but her past and thoughts are shrouded in mystery. Which I think towards the end of the last game, we discover what her ultimate talent was, and was the ultimate detective. It ran in her family, right? This is all information that we'd have at this point, so... Aoi Asahina. She's a natural-born athlete. Her main focus is swimming. But at her old school, she also competed in volleyball, track, and more. She has a smiling, enthusiastic nature that helps keep the others in high spirits and absolutely loves donuts. Yay! By yay, no. Toku Fukawa. Despite her age, she's already a successful novelist. In actuality, she has a personality disorder that manifests itself as the serial killer personality known as Genocide Jack and Jill. Sakura Agami. Her father taught her martial arts since she was a little girl, and now she has become the strongest human being on Earth. Not gonna lie, one of my favorite characters. Really enjoyed Sakura. So Celestia Ludenberg. Her petite Lolita appearance belies a haughty temperament and a sharp, caustic tongue. She's a master of deceit, and her face is utterly inscrutable. She is Japanese, in case you're wondering. Junko Enoshima. She's a charismatic model who has graced the covers of the most popular youth fashion magazines. However, her true identity is... Chihiro Fujisaki. She's very quiet but has extraordinary talent when it comes to computers. Also, Nadashi, as we learn through the events of the first game. Also, probably one of my favorite character developments. Reflecting, I don't remember how I felt about it back in the first game. I remember being worried that was going to come to the whole, flip. But reflecting on it, I enjoy... I don't know. I enjoy the intimate moment that Chihiro has with Mondo. It's grown on me. And Mukuro Ikusaba, combat specialist who has mastered handling various weapons. Ever since she was a child, she has had a special interest in mystery stories. That's completely engrossed by them. Okay, I thought she was the ultimate weapon. But no, she's just the ultimate soldier. Okay. Well, that's the entire cast from the first game. Then we got Monokuma. And then we have... the minor characters like family and friends and everything of everyone else. But I have no idea what this is going to entail. No idea at all. Let's start. Monokuma's monologue. The world is full of ifs. Is this written like a play, or... If Adam hadn't tied the knot with Eve, society as we know it would never have been born. So, as we know it never would have been born, okay. Interesting that a lot of... I'm gonna go off on a small side note here. Interesting that Lilith is never mentioned in these Adam and Eve stories. It's a very interesting distinction between how the different denominations and beliefs have been filtered to. The world that everyone lives in is just one outcome among countless ifs and will continue to be a muddled world overflowing with infinite ifs. If is what's in miso soup, you know. What lies beyond this point is a scary world filled with... I feel like we're going into Pokemon right now. What lies beyond this point is a scary world filled with iffy stepfathers who abandon their families. A Klein battle where the inside and the outside are filled with uncertainty. Nah, but don't break it, okay? It'd be so expensive that there's no way you'd ever be able to pay me back. But no matter how you look at it, ifs are simply worlds like any other. No matter how hypothetical the story may be, the future is the only thing that's truly foggy. And the past is more solid than a frozen banana. You can't change a conclusion that has already happened. Even if you see a world that may have existed, it wouldn't affect the people living in reality. Because if is only if, after all. Even if a parallel world exists where a particular if actually happened, humans cannot cross the boundaries between worlds that easily. No matter how far if goes, it will always be a what-if scenario. Do you really want to see that? You've got some sick interests. Don't you think that's an insult to Makoto and the others after the tragedy they overcame? Okay, so this is... Is this like a reflection? As far as I'm concerned, I'll still insult them. I'm honest, if there are different voices, I'm probably not going to try to make a distinction between them. If you're going to look at if, I think it's better if you view the outside of the climb battle first. It might even be better if you view the ending of a video game called Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. We have. Try to play it multiple times and spend your free time with Junko Nishima at least 3 times too. Oh no, I didn't do that. Chat, what does this entail? Should I know? Is it... Okay. Don't worry about it. Cool. It may be ideal if you can collect all the items and movies too. But if you guys have come this far, I'm sure you've already done all that. Still, I'd buy the game if I were you. I'd actually buy at least 2 copies if I were you. The curtain lowers. Yeah, this feels like a stage? What is it called? What should I do with this? Oh, is this the store from the school? Makoto Naegi was at a loss. Despite his hesitation, his situation was extremely simple and composed of 3 key factors. The first factor was that Makoto was currently locked inside a school. Hope's Peak Academy is a school for the privileged elite, and each student attending possesses ultimate talent. Makoto was chosen to attend Hope's Peak Academy by a lottery held to select the ultimate lucky student. When he arrived for his first day of school, he immediately lost consciousness. When he woke up, he saw all the exits and windows had been sealed shut. The next factor was Monokuma, a mysterious robot bear being operated by the mastermind, and the announcement he made to all the students. You'll be living your whole life in this academy, he declared. If you want to leave, then kill someone and become the Blackened. This strange remote-controlled robot was telling Makoto and his fellow Ultimates to start killing each other in exchange for their freedom. They learned that more than one Monokuma exists, and that each one contains a bomb to prevent anyone from attacking them. On top of that, Monokuma announced that anyone who attempted to harm him would have received punishment. The third and final factor was the red button that Makoto was currently holding in his hands. The words escape button were crudely written on this button in marker. And though the first 2 factors were certainly causes for panic, Makoto only seemed at a loss over the third. I don't remember this. During his free time, Makoto noticed that the school store was open, and his curiosity got the better of him. He was overwhelmed by the disjointed atmosphere upon entering, but his attention soon focused on a strange vending machine. The words "Mono Mono Machine" were written on it, and it seemed to accept the strange bear pattern coins they sometimes found inside the school. It seemed like a bad idea, but Makoto thought there might be a chance that this machine could dispense some way of escaping the school. The escape button is something that Monokuma hints at in Danganronpa 1. How does he hint at it? Like, what specific phrases or whatever does he say? And so he inserted the only coin he had into the coin slot. And the result was the escape button mentioned earlier. Ooh. There's a limit to how much you can tease us. Maybe the mastermind who trapped us in here is making a cruel joke. Is this an actual, like, item that we can get from the machine? That'd be really cool. These thoughts filled Makoto's mind, and he began to feel deeply discouraged. However... Now that you say that, that sounds vaguely familiar. Okay. Okay, cool. There's always a chance, right? Makoto was just an ordinary boy, and he only gained entry to Hope's Peak Academy through a lottery to find the ultimate lucky student. Maybe that luck was the real deal. If this button is real, maybe I can Makoto took a deep, slow breath and pressed the button. Instantly, pain burst through his entire body. What? Makoto's arms and legs went limp as he lost his balance and fell to the floor in a crumpled heap. As he breathed heavily, it dawned on him what had just happened. I got electrocuted? He looked down at the button in his hand and noticed a small needle sticking out of it. Makoto quickly surmised that an electrical current must have been running through it. After regaining enough of his strength to stand back up, Makoto thought about it once again. After he finished Danganronpa 1, there's a chance he can get it on replays. Alright, cool. Cool. After regaining enough of his strength to stand back up, Makoto thought about it once again. I should have known. It was a fake. Just how sick and twisted was the mastermind? My head still feels a little woozy. I should go back to my room and rest today. With that in mind, Makoto walked out of the school store with slow, careful steps. But Makoto didn't know yet. Little did he know. I just watched Stranger Than Fiction. That phrase is stuck in my head now. If the escape button really was a fake, it would have been an act of mercy from the mastermind. A small bear-shaped shadow began moving around inside the now empty school store. The shadow, Monokuma, stood before the Monomano machine and stared at it silently. But after some time had passed, he began to laugh. A cold, hollow laugh, utterly devoid of emotion. I don't know what motionless Monokuma sounds like. Despite the fact that he was alone, Monokuma began to talk, almost as if he was speaking to someone. Perhaps Monokuma was talking directly to the mastermind controlling him. I only put that in the Monomano machine because I thought it'd be interesting if one of the last few survivors happened to win it. With a success rate of 0.0000001%, I never thought anyone would actually win it. Perhaps I should have expected the ultimate lucky student to overcome such impossible odds. Monokuma started blushing and breathing heavily for no apparent reason. A robot like Monokuma doesn't need to breathe, but because his technology is super advanced, he can express himself like a living creature. Makoto was chosen through a lottery, and now he's won the escape button through a lottery. Now this is obviously impossible, right? Is this what a miracle is? Is this all systems go toward escaping? Is something that defies all common sense about to come crashing into my world? Well, even though I don't really want this at all, I'm starting to enjoy this new sensation. We'll be back after these commercials. Monokuma's internal machinery began running at full capacity, and his facial expressions began changing more smoothly than any humans could. Suddenly, his expressions immediately stopped, and he whispered something through his speakers. But is this really luck? After muttering something so ominous, Monokuma's loud, screeching laughter rang jarringly throughout the room. The situation that was about to unfold contained two conflicting emotions in equal measure: hope and despair. We're well accustomed to hope and despair, right? The next day, nighttime. This looks different. Is this the same? Wait, what? Oh. Oh, we can cycle through the pages. That's neat. Is there a way to, like, just see everything? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This looks a little bit different. Meh. Makoto Nagi lay on his bed, desperately struggling with the despair and hope churning within him. Monokuma had forced the students to each watch a DVD earlier that day. Oh, so we know exactly when this takes place. Makoto showed a scene that suggested that his parents and his little sister were in danger. and he now found himself determined to leave the school. It seemed the other students were forced to watch shocking videos of their own. Videos so shocking that they were now determined to escape the school too, even if it meant sacrificing someone to do it, our first piece of motivation. However, it was obvious that these videos were part of Monokuma's trap. As long as a student killed someone, they were allowed to graduate and leave the academy. It seemed that the mastermind controlling Monokuma was hell-bent on making the students kill each other. But right now, Makoto was most worried about Sayaka Maizono, who seemed to be incredibly distressed after watching her DVD. Sayaka wasn't just the ultimate pop sensation. She was also Makoto's classmate when they were students at Blackroot Junior High. Her optimism had been encouraging Makoto these past few days, and is becoming a similar source of strength for her as well. If nothing else, I have to at least save Sayaka. As soon as Makoto thought that, he suddenly felt a small headache. Was he still reeling from being punched by Mondo the other day? Or was this a side effect of being electrocuted by the escape button? As Makoto pondered these things, the pain slowly subsided, and he returned to his determined thoughts of escape. Anyway, we all need to work together, huh? At that moment, Makoto realized his goal had changed slightly. We all need to? Ideally, it would be best if everyone survived together. However, aside from Sayaka, Makoto had never met the other students before. He didn't know if they could even be trusted in the first place. But at that moment, he trusted them without even an ounce of suspicion. He believed they were worth helping, even at the cost of his own life. Just like Sayaka. Why? The headache struck again, as if all the blood vessels in his brain were being individually sliced open. Why did I just think that I could trust the others as much as I trust Sayaka? Why is that in yellow? That's bolded. Makoto tried to figure out why his thought process had suddenly changed. Something was wrong. The throbbing pain in his head seemed to synchronize with the strange feeling that something was approaching him. As a ray of light began to form within the dark recesses of his own mind, the doorbell rang. Someone's here? He quickly got out of bed, but that only made the headache worse. With no concern for his safety, Makoto carelessly opened the door to his room and came face to face with Sayaka. I'm really sorry to come by so late. Sayaka! The pain. What are you doing out so late? The moment he saw her face, the pulsating pain in Makoto's head began accelerating. He felt like his world was being torn apart from the inside out. Sorry to bother you, but something really weird just happened and... Makoto, what's wrong? You don't look so well. Sayaka was pale and had been trembling when she came to Makoto's room, but she seemed surprised to see that his complexion was worse than her own. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just my head. Makoto couldn't finish his sentence. His eyes rolled back into his head as he lost consciousness and slowly fell to the floor. And Sayaka's beautiful voice let out a scream as she stood over Makoto's body. Next day, the nurse's office. Oh, you're awake! Hey, you okay? How many fingers am I holding up? As Makoto regained consciousness, he was greeted by the sight of fingers adorned with long, fake nails being waved in his face. Huh? You're Junko, right? Hey, why do you sound so unsure? I'm a little shocked to hear you say that. Despite what she said, Junko Enoshima, the ultimate fashionista, was laughing as if she found this all very amusing. Makoto looked around and realized he'd never seen this place before. It looked somewhat like a hospital. 3 beds, including his own, were lined up in the room, with various medical instruments laid around them. The black ceiling felt strangely oppressive, but as he sat up, Makoto's mind immediately centered on one possibility. Where are we? Did we get rescued? That'd be nice, huh? She replied as she looked away. Junko explained that this was the nurse's office on the first floor of the academy. That Monokuma thing said, I can't bear to see my precious students getting sick, and opened this place up this morning. But don't you think it's suspicious? What if all these meds are poison? To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. Makoto remembered his encounter with the escape button and let out a small sigh. So, why am I here, Junko? You should thank Sayaka for that. She was here the whole night taking care of you. She was? Junko ignored Makoto's surprise and continued casually talking. But then Taka got all fired up and was like, we should take turns watching over him. I just happened to be on duty when you woke up. Well, and even then, only because Byakuya ditched it. That's so funny. That's so funny considering Byakuya in 2, right? Right? Like, why does the ultimate imposter die first as Byakuya? Because he's going to try to guard and protect everyone else. Like I said, you should thank Sayaka. Anyway, how are you feeling? Is everything alright? Makoto thought about it for a moment and remembered what he had been thinking about just before he lost consciousness. This is kind of weird, but... Actually, it's a really weird question, but... What's up? Junko, we've never met each other before, right? Upon hearing this, Junko's eyes widened, but a few seconds later, she began to laugh. Huh? Are you for real? That pickup line is like so totally played out, you know? Oh, is this where she talks about being photoshopped? Is that from this exchange? Even though she was grinning, a serious look came over her face. Just so you know, you shouldn't expect anything like that from me. I know I look this way, but I take my virtue pretty seriously. Sure, I said that at this point? Gotcha. Okay. I don't remember the... We're off the path. Ah! Gotcha. Gotcha. I thought this happened in tandem with something else, but... Okay. Because I don't remember the minor events, like the day-to-day, like, casual events from 1. Oh. Oh. Okay, so, in the regular timeline, Sayaka's already dead by now. Thank you. I thought that there was a point where we went to bed early for a night, and that's when this was taking place. But that must have been later on and completely irrelevant to this story. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. That's what I figured. It's obvious that you're a total Omega male anyway. I was just watching Lindsay Ellis's video on the Omegaverse, and I never knew that existed. I didn't want to know it existed. I kind of regret knowing that it exists right now. But okay. Is that the alpha, beta, omega, what hierarchy that we're referring to? Makoto and Junko continued to talk to one another. Although he wondered why Junko was talking to him instead of leaving to get the others, Makoto didn't question it. I think she calls him an herbivore in the God. Omega male, the opposite of alpha. What? The opposite of alpha is the beta, right? You've got your strong leader. You've got your like, I don't know what, like provider, right? As the alpha. Then you've got your more submissive as the beta. That follows and doesn't lead. And what? I'm still new to what the Omega refers to or stands for. But I'm not involved in that. But that's how the Japanese... Really? Oh, I didn't know it was like a... Is it a cultural thing? Like just like a society thing? Oh, no, herbivores versus carnivores. Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay. That's an interesting way to refer to people. Carnivore versus herbivore. Is there anything for omnivore? Like not a switch, but a switch? I'm trying to remember what the classification for Omega was in the like Omega hierarchy. They're like Omegaverse hierarchy. I want to say it stands in place for the Switch, actually. Or is it referring to all like to female roles, being the caregiver and the giving birth, producing life? Megas are submissive beta. Oh, gotcha. Thank you, Elkin. Thank you, I appreciate that. That's such a weird. God. I never understood that whole dynamic or hierarchy or just anything. Goes completely over my head. Although he wondered why Junko was talking to him instead of leaving to get the others, Makoto didn't question it. He just wanted to talk to someone. Anyone. As long as he interacted with his fellow students, he believed he would learn the truth about what was going on inside his head. 10 minutes later, Junko mostly talked about alpha males and omega males, her time being homeless, about her past and her dreams for the future. So... what? Is this Makuro? Or is this Junko being home? Like, I guess the both of them, right? Wait, no. Oh, I don't remember. Oh, God, I don't remember their dynamic. Was Makuro given up? Or, like, sent elsewhere? Oh, it's been so long. The last topic was a lot heavier than the previous ones, but Makoto's calm demeanor seemed to cheer her up. She smiled sincerely and said softly, "Thanks, Makoto." Maybe it was a sign of gratitude for listening to her troubles, but she kept that same smile. She blurted out something horrifying. "In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you." Don't say scary stuff like that. At least, that's what Makoto thought, but the words that came out of his mouth expressed a different sentiment. "I see. Thanks. But I wouldn't want you to become the Blackened in the first place." For some reason, Makoto felt like the murderous words that came out of Junko's mouth seemed like a natural thing for her to say. She seemed very surprised by Makoto's response and quickly blurted out, "Huh? Are you serious? I was just kidding." "Huh? Oh yeah, of course. Sorry for acting so weird." "No worries. Let's just chalk this up to you being woozy from your recovery." She returned to her usual bubbly self, let out a big stretch, and turned to Makoto. "I'm gonna get going now. Make sure you don't get killed before the next person arrives." After seeing her off, Makoto laid back down in the bed and started thinking to himself, what is this strange feeling? His dull headache continued as his thoughts began to blur. I was just talking to Junko, but I feel like I was talking to someone else. Who is she? The more he thought, the more it felt like his memories were sinking into a thick swamp. Each throb of pain pulsing in his head felt like a wave on the surface of that swamp. What is this feeling? It felt very unpleasant, as though someone's voice was screaming at him from inside his head. Makoto tried to organize his thoughts and go over everything that had happened to him. But he was interrupted by the sound of a bell. Unlike the dorm rooms, the nurse's office didn't have a doorbell. The bell sound that Makoto heard was ringing throughout the entire building. Ahem. Testing, mic check 1, 2. This is a test of the school broadcast system. It was Monokuma's voice. Now that Makoto has finally woken up, please assemble at the gym. That's where they would have all the information. Makoto listened to Monokuma's heartless order and got out of bed without complaining. I have to go. He walked one step at a time in accordance with the rhythm of his throbbing headache. Slowly he walked forward, not knowing if where he was headed was heaven or hell. Makoto, are you alright? Sayaka ran over to Makoto as soon as he entered the gym. Yeah, thanks. Sorry about yesterday. I guess I really worried you. Please, don't apologize. I'm sorry too. I barged into your room when you weren't feeling well. Now that you mention it, said Makoto. What happened yesterday? Sayaka looked away for a brief moment, but immediately turned back, smelled her pop sensation smile, and shook her head. It's nothing. I'll tell you some other time. Huh? While they were talking, Kiyotaka Ishimaru, the ultimate moral compass, stepped forward, pointing an accusatory finger at Makoto. You're late, Makoto. Explain why you were tardy. The other students collectively raised their eyebrows, as if they were thinking. Why is this guy yelling at someone who is sick? However, Makoto just smiled gently and answered him honestly. I didn't feel well, so I was resting in the nurse's office. Can you note that in the daily logbook? I see. That's consistent with my information. If that's the case, then I shall consider this matter settled. I like Taka. I like Taka when he's not all Mondo obsessed. The conversation progressed smoothly, and Taka smiled as he kept talking. I'll take full responsibility for recording it. You just focus on recovering. If you ever feel ill, please report to the health committee. Seems we'll need to appoint health committee members after this meeting, though. Was the plot to kill someone they would have never guessed? Who knows? Taka walked away, mumbling to himself as he opened a daily logbook. Taka walked away, mumbling to himself as he opened the daily logbook he found in the academy supply room. Celestia Ludenberg, the ultimate gambler, saw the whole conversation and walked up to Makoto. Despite his unreasonable behavior, you knew exactly what to say to him. Huh? As soon as Celeste said that, it dawned on Makoto. It's true that he didn't feel well, and that he had been resting in the nurse's office. But when Taka asked him why he was late, even though he should have already known the reason, Makoto didn't feel annoyed or disappointed at all. It was as if he expected Taka to say that. Makoto felt strange that he had accepted Taka's personality so quickly. He couldn't understand why he asked Taka to do something as unnecessary as recording it in the daily logbook in the first place. Why did I say that? It's like I was used to it. His response to Taka's demands came as naturally to him as breathing. Why? 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 Every time he tried to think about it, his headache grew even worse. As Makoto struggled to think through the pain of his headaches. A black and white stuffed animal jumped out from behind the gym's podium and began twirling around as it spoke in a cheerful voice. Hey guys, is everyone here? He sounded like he was about to lead the students on a field trip, but not a single one of them had a smile on their faces. What is it this time? Are we gonna hijack a cruise ship and run into a gigantic worm? Who said that? Who would have said that? I have no idea. My first thought is Hiro, but... Hiro or Hina, but I don't know. Of course, there was one exception. Of course, Hiro would make some sort of prophecy or like prediction about whatever. Yeah. Yasuhiro Hagakure, the ultimate clairvoyant, still believed that their current situation was some kind of planned event. Monokuma just ignored him and continued to address the students with his adorable voice. Today I'm going to tell you about our wonderful academy system. System sure sounds like a great word, don't you think? It reeks of danger, just like a bear. I want you all to trample over the deaths of your friends and grow up to have hardened hearts. It's good to be a little naughty, I want you all to grow poisonous personalities. After making his nonsensical introduction, Monokuma moved on to the next topic. With this, he began providing a detailed explanation of the most vile system in the school, the class trial. Now, you can't just kill someone. You gotta kill someone without anyone else finding out you did it. Monokuma talked about his horrible graduation program with casual indifference. But because the killing hadn't happened yet, his lecture didn't instill any despair in the students. Is this where Wait, what? This isn't where Junko normally dies, is it? As long as the killing never occurred, there'd be no point to the class trial. But no one could really say that a killing was going to happen. As the students' suspicions began to rise, Monokuma continued to explain the class trial until... Wait, hold on a second. As Monokuma began to explain the executions that would serve as punishment, one girl stepped forward. It is. Okay. For some reason, I thought that was before Sayaka. But I guess... not? I'm just remembering out of order. As soon as he saw how angry she was, the rhythm of Makoto's headache began to change slightly. You're freaking insane, you know that? Hmm? The girl continued to complain angrily. She seemed completely different from the smiling person Makoto saw in the nurse's office. Huh? Was Junko always like that? No, she's different. That's how Junko acts, but... is that person really Junko? Wait, what am I thinking? As Makoto struggled with his headache and confusion, Monokuma and the girl continued to argue. What? Are you saying you're not going to participate in the trial? Only punishment awaits such blasphemy. What? Punishment? I might, I don't know, throw you in a deep, dark, scary prison or something. Different. The strange feeling he felt now was now directed at Monokuma. A prison? No, they aren't that kind. A series of images flashed in Makoto's mind, and at first he thought it was some kind of parade. But he quickly realized that was a mistake. What looked like lights were actually buildings engulfed in flames. The red decorating the scene seems to have come from human bodies. Despair. It wasn't confined to the academy or even to Japan. Images of worldwide death and destruction flooded Makoto's brain with every throb of his headache. I've seen this before? Besides this indescribable violence taking place in all these images, there's one thing they had in common. Who are they? They're... rampaging terrorists wearing black and white masks were wreaking havoc in these images. Is this what we saw at the very end of Danganronpa 1? With what Junko was showing us at the final trial? They took everything. Money, valuables, lives, families, dignity, the past, the future, possibly even hope. The masks these terrorists were wearing perfectly resembled the face of the stuffed animal arguing with the student before him. Shut the hell up! Say whatever you want, I'm not going to be part of this. Don't be so selfish. You're the one being selfish. Kill whoever you want. It's got nothing to do with me. The evil saying here before me. I'm trembling with fear. But I won't give in to such evil. It's my style to stick it out and resist till the very end. If you really want to get out of here, you'll have to go through me first. Monokuma swung his arms wildly as he charged at the girl with waddling steps. But the girl stomped on the self-proclaimed headmaster of the academy with ease. Are you enjoying yourself now? Pinned beneath the girl's foot, Monokuma looked up into the girl's cold eyes and calmly asked, Are you? Huh? Violence against Headmaster Monokuma is not allowed. You violated a school regulation. At that moment, a chill ran down Makoto's spine. She's going to get killed. Monokuma's words sounded very threatening to him. It wasn't a prediction or a guess. It was as if he knew the danger Monokuma posed from the start. If this continues, Junko's going to... His mind still didn't fully grasp the situation folding in front of him. By the time he realized he was about to remember something, he was already running forward. Junko? The impact of his feet combined with the rhythm of his headache, sending his brain and heart into a panic. No, she's different. She's... I invoke the mighty summon spell. Help! To me, godly spear Gungnir. Interesting. Is that the same? Or is it different? Monokuma wiggled beneath the girl's foot and let out a scream. At that exact moment, Makoto charged at her and screamed out. That's the same? Definitely don't remember the Gungnir reference. Makuro! Watch it. How does this relate? I guess this is a what-if situation, right? Huh? The girl dressed as Junko Enoshima widened her eyes in shock. As if to evade the charging Makoto, she jumped back with agility unheard of in a teenage high school girl. And then, right at that moment, countless spears pierced the spot where she had been standing just a split second ago. All the students, including the girl, stared wide-eyed at the sudden turn of events. Spears, too many of them to count, had shot out with blinding speed from mechanisms installed in the floor walls of the gym. However, Makoto was unable to notice this. Huh? Why did I call Junko Makuro? Makuro? As that thought entered his mind, a sharp, sudden impact struck his side, followed by an intense, deathly pain that ran down his spine and spread throughout his entire body. The spear stabbed into his side, instantly tore his flesh to shreds and shot out his back, coated in blood and other bodily fluids. At that moment, the black fog that had engulfed Makoto's mind was consumed by death itself, and as his consciousness slowly faded, he remembered everything. Because of the electric jolt and the chemical compound from the escape button, because of that button that he had found by chance, Makoto Naegi managed to escape. He escaped this hopeless game where he and his fellow students had their memories stolen and were forced to kill each other. Of course, that escape is also what led him to this current life or death predicament. In the end, perhaps he only escaped from one despair to fall into another. But at the same time, his actions had unintended consequences for one person. The girl living a false identity as her beloved little sister, Junko Enoshima. Makuro Ukusaba, Ultimate Soldier and a member of Ultimate Despair. Her past, her future, perhaps even her hope itself, are on the path to despair. And so the curtain falls on Makoto's story for now. From this point, the story is about a certain girl. A girl who's more pitiful than anyone else in the sealed-off academy. A new curtain, along with new despair, shall now rise. Huh? Time had certainly stopped for Makuro Ukusaba. It was as if everything around her had frozen perfectly still. In the past, she was known as the Ultimate Soldier. She had experienced this feeling before, during her time with the mercenary group Fenrir, in situations where she was surrounded by a hopeless number of enemies within the jungle, or in a desert ruin. The charging enemies seemed as though they were frozen in time, which allowed her to claim a decisive victory in all her battles. Hear me out here, just listen for a sec. Hit me, Angie. What you got? What you got? What you want me to listen to, huh? Thank you for your wonderful contribution. This wasn't a battlefield, so why did this familiar sensation activate once again? In order to understand what had happened, Makuro slowly tried to assess the current situation from within this frozen world. Junko and Makuro are both children of despair, but Junko Enoshima, the true ultimate despair, harbors a far deeper darkness within her. Though their last names are different, Makuro is Junko's older sister, connected by the bonds of blood. She cooperated with Junko's hopeless plan and impersonated her under the pretense of participating in the killing game alongside her classmates. According to the plan, Makuro was supposed to oppose Monokuma, who her sister was controlling, and be locked in a dungeon as punishment. Isolated from the others, she would then escape the dungeon and perform various acts intended to deprive the students of hope. That was the role she had been assigned. Sitting on a marketing goldmine. Am I? Am I, though? When Makoto succumbed to his headache, Junko ordered her to see if the shock had caused him to remember anything that could make him a liability. He woke up as she was tending to him, so she made a small talk with him, but didn't notice any change in his behavior. Until this point, she was certain that there shouldn't be any problems. Nothing could possibly go wrong. She stomped a Monokuma like her sister ordered her to do and flawlessly spoke the lines she was taught to memorize. Afterward, she would fall through a trapdoor into the dungeon and remain isolated from the other students. That was her role. She hadn't done anything wrong. There were no problems. There were no problems. She repeated that to herself over and over like a silent prayer. But in that frozen moment in time, what she saw was not a trapdoor, but countless spears. One of them had skewered Makoto through his side. Why? Makoto? Why are there spears? Gungnir? I would have died if I hadn't moved. Did Junko mess up the plan? No, Junko would never mess up. Was she trying to kill me? Me? Makoto saved me? Why? Why did he say my name? Did his memories come back? Did I not realize that? Did I make a mistake? Is that why Junko got angry? Is this punishment? Is it my fault? Junko tried to kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Slowly, time came back to her world. Makuro could feel her face turning pale as she slowly looked toward Makoto. The students' screams rang throughout the gym. Sayaka was probably the first one to scream. But who screamed first didn't matter to Makuro. Makoto. Why? Makoto was the ultimate lucky student. He had been her classmate for the past 2 years, and now he was a sacrifice to despair. Not long ago, he had given her an answer of sorts during their conversation in the nurse's office. He was just a pawn in the plan her sister had devised. But now a feeling of doubt began forming in Makuro's mind. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm exhausted today, y'all. What's up, Kel? How you been doing, man? Kel, we're right now we're in like this alternate take of events that played out or like branch off of the first game in terms of story and content, so just be warned. And what did I want from Makoto? As her heart churned restlessly, she continued to think. In return, I promised that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you. Was I impersonating Junko then? Or did I really mean that? When did I start feeling this doubt? Just now, the moment he saved me? Or when we spoke in the nurse's office earlier? Or when I first confronted him about this killing game before his memories returned? Or was it before even that? Makuro stood there, confused and overwhelmed, as Makoto slowly opened his eyes, the spear still impaling him through the side. Makuro? Makoto, are you okay? Makuro was no longer impersonating the ultimate fashionista. Looking up from the floor of the gym, Makoto asked, "Why are you dressed up like Junko?" He was smiling. Maybe he couldn't feel the pain anymore. Or maybe he was being affected by something else. But regardless, Makoto ignored the fact that he was dying just to give Makuro his warm smile. I'm glad you're safe, Makuro." As soon as she heard Makoto's weak, fading voice, something inside Makuro snapped. From within the shell of despair she had built up, an intense emotion began overflowing out. No, this is all wrong. She couldn't hold back that emotion any longer. No. No! And for the first time in her entire life, Mikuro unleashed a scream into the world. As Mikuro fell to her knees and clutched her head, a small shadow started walking toward her back. The stuffed animal that had been under her foot, Monokuma. His claws were extended and he was no longer walking with his usual waddle. Instead, he moved like a beast, silently stalking its prey, as he slowly advanced within his target's blind spot. As he inched close to Mikuro, Monokuma raised his razor-sharp claws, crouched on his haunches, and suddenly leapt forward the back of her head. However, just before these claws could reach the paralyzed Mikuro, a dark shadow moved in from the side and swatted these claws away with one blow. His lunge deflected. Monokuma was sent flying throughout the air, spinning wildly before crashing into the wall. Damn you. What are you trying to do? Sakura Agami, the ultimate martial artist, had just prevented another tragedy. She stood before Monokuma and addressed him in a loud, booming voice. Not only did you attempt to kill Junko for violating school regulations, you even attacked Makoto, who had nothing to do with this. This is like the situation with Nekomaru, isn't it? This is very similar. But so this is Makoto. But Makoto is Nekomaru to Mikuro being Akane. If you plan to continue acting in such a savage manner, there is no reason for us to play along with your game. Byakuya Tsugami, the ultimate fluent progeny, smirked condescendingly at Sakura. Fool. One could say you've now violated school regulations with your senseless actions. He looked as if he honestly did not care if his fellow students lived or died at all. Well, she merely deflected the headmaster's attack just now, so I do not think that it truly counts as an act of violence. Like Byakuya, Celeste seemed unfazed as she chided him over his words. Best girl. Best girl. However, the banter between the two was enough to stir the stunned students into action. Makoto! Sayaka was the first one to run toward Makoto, who lay bleeding from his stomach. But Monokuma stopped her, shouting in a tone of voice that seemed completely out of character. Be careful! Don't get too close to those two! Huh? Startled by Monokuma's desperate tone, Sayaka and the others stopped moving almost instinctively. The students looked around at each other. Instead of his usual playful gait, Monokuma walked toward them with deliberate, methodical steps. And then, he suddenly blurted out something that took everyone, including Mikuro Ukasaba, by surprise. I'm sure you're probably confused by the sudden turn of events, but I wanted you guys to work together. What? As Mikuro slowly turned her head toward Monokuma, he pointed at her and yelled. Mikuro Ukasaba and her accomplice Makoto Naegi are the terrorists responsible for locking you all inside this academy. Really? Once again, time stopped for Mikuro. But this time, she wasn't the only one affected. Everyone seemed to be frozen in shock. After a few seconds of silence, Aoi Asahina, the ultimate swimming pro, spoke first. Huh? You're kidding, right? I mean, Makoto's a terrorist? That's impossible. And who's Mikuro, anyway? I mean, that's Junko. Monokuma began to slowly explain to Aoi. The real Junko must be in prison somewhere in the school. Worst case scenario, she might be killed. Mikuro must have researched which one of you would be easiest for her to impersonate, and hid among you all by pretending to be her. She was probably trying to make sure the killing game went smoothly. Suddenly, Monokuma's hands and feet began jerking in an awkward motion as he looked at the other students and introduced himself. I am Bashiki Madurai, the ultimate hacker? What? I'm your upperclassman. I hacked into the academy from the outside, and I was finally able to take control of Monokuma's body just a little while ago. Take control? From who? From the head of the terrorist organization that's controlling this robot from the outside. What? What are you saying, Junko? Mikuro trembled as she heard the words coming out of Monokuma's mouth. For a brief moment, she clung to the hope that her sister wasn't trying to kill her. But as soon as that hope was born, it was immediately consumed by despair. Junko had the power to transform hope into despair. She would never let anyone hack her that easily. There's only one explanation. Junko Enoshima was pretending to be someone named Bashiki in order to frame Mikuro and Makoto. It was as though Makoto was using Mukuro's survival as a branching path to lead the students to a different despair. Monokuma continued talking, telling the other students more lies designed to prod them into action. On your first day at Hope's Peak Academy, you guys were exposed to sleeping gas, knocked unconscious, and taken hostage. Mikuro and Makoto are probably the only operatives that the terrorists sent inside the school. That means they probably know how to escape from here. Okay. Mikuro Ikusawa was a member of a mercenary group called Fenrir. She's a wanted criminal who's killed over 10 people associated with the school. Don't get soft and think you can capture her alive. In fact, that's exactly what the cops told me. So the moment I saw an opening, I tried hacking the trap they set and tried to kill her. Okay. But what about Makoto? Monokuma gave a cold, emotionless answer to Sayaka's question. My guess is that a measly little ultimate lucky student didn't stand a chance of defying a group like Fenrir. He was probably threatened and forced to cooperate before you entered the school. Or judging from his earlier actions, maybe Mikuro seduced him. Sayaka's face went pale when she heard that answer, and she immediately stopped talking. Mikuro raised her hand and shouted, "You're wrong! Makoto isn't a terrorist! You all have to believe me." The whole gym fell silent. And then, as if he was speaking for everyone here, Taka stepped forward and nervously asked, "Oh, hold on. What do you mean, Makoto isn't a terrorist?" Sounds like you're saying that there's no doubt that you, in fact, are a terrorist. I ask that you correct yourself at once and say we are not terrorists. Celeste began expressing her own doubts as well. It is strange. Does it not seem odd that she is so protective of someone we all just met a few days ago? Mikuro stood in silence. I gotta admit that is a little sus. The other students' faces began to fill with suspicion and doubt as they realized they weren't looking at the real Junko Enoshima. Byakuya pushed up his glass and began coldly pointing out what seemed out of place to him. I heard that fool Makoto, or whatever his name is, call you Mukuro instead of Junko. How would Makoto know that your name is really Mukuro if he just met you not that long ago? I've also heard of Fenrir. Of course you have. As I recall, its members have a tattoo somewhere on their body. Instinctively, Byakuya's words put Mukuro into a calm state of mind. In hostile situations, her defensive reflexes as the ultimate soldier often manifested itself. Mukuro's tattoo was on the back of her right hand. She wondered how she could hide this from the other students without also calling attention to it. But in the end, this concern was in vain. If the police's records are true, she should have a tattoo on the back of her right hand. Okay. Alright, cried Sokka, his voice filled with enthusiasm. Show us the back of your right hand and prove your innocence. Monokuma dispensed another unnecessary remark. Make sure you look real close. She might have covered up with foundation. Junko, who had ordered Mikuro to hide her tattoo with foundation, so Monokuma's information was entirely true. There was nothing Makuro could do except stay quiet. However, she wasn't staying quiet because her identity was about to be exposed. She was struck by the realization that her sister was completely serious about pinning this on her. Why the hesitation? Said the foolishly honest Taka. As my classmate, I have complete faith in you. From behind them, Hifumi Yamada, the ultimate fanfic creator, murmured to himself as cold sweat ran down his cheeks. Well, look at that. I guess this is what they call a checkmate, huh? Why don't you just fess up already, you fucking bastard? In contrast to Hifumi, Mondo Obata, the ultimate biker gang leader, was royally pissed. However, there were some students who were busy questioning Monokuma instead of Makuro. Hey, you're not coming to save us, said Leon, the ultimate baseball star. You should hurry up and charge in here already. Monokuma looked at Leon and shook his head softly. The police can't help you right now. Not only are you guys hostages, it's possible that the entire school village... oh my god. What am I saying? I'm getting really, really sleepy just reading. The entire school has been rigged with explosives and poisonous gas. Hack into this Monokuma robot to investigate that for myself. Then, what about everyone on that DVD? What about everyone outside the school? Asked Sayaka. The memory of the DVD she was forced to watch yesterday still weighed heavily on her mind, but... When did we discover it? We discovered it when Sayaka died, right? It's like Makoto would have known what was on that DVD. I wonder... Yeah, the DVD. The one that we played in the room. So we saw our dad... No, I'm not saying at this point, no. But like, we saw what was on Sayaka's DVD because of that though, right? Because she died and we were able to collect it. I want... Would Junko have gotten... What would Junko's DVD have been? Is my question. Or, I guess, better yet, what would Makuro's... Makuro? Ro. What would her DVD have been, if anything? Fair. Fair, they don't need motivation. I wonder if they would have just gotten like a blank disc. They wouldn't get a DVD. Yeah. That makes sense. Monokuma didn't have a clear answer. I don't know anything about any DVDs, but there are definitely terrorists causing havoc out here. Law enforcement around the world is in shambles trying to deal with this. That's impossible. Sayaka shuddered and collapsed to her knees. Sayaka. Next to her, Chihiro Fujisaki. The ultimate programmer wasn't sure about what she should do. Behind her, two other girls stood silently. The first was Toko Fukawa, the ultimate writing prodigy. She seemed to be trying very hard not to look at Makoto as he lay bleeding. The other was a quiet... Oh. That's because Toko's trigger is blood, right? Or was it when she sneezes? She faints with the blood? And then it's with the sneeze? Is that it? Toko passes out the sight of blood. Yeah. The other was a quiet girl who hadn't talked about herself much, named Kyoko Kirigiri. Unlike Toko, Kyoko was watching everything intently, as if she were studying the scene of a crime. From Makoto's breathing patterns to subtle changes in Makuro's facial expression, nothing was escaping her attention. Suddenly, Toko began nervously talking to Sakura. So, anyway, let's just say that Makuro woman or whoever over there is a terrorist. Hurry up and beat her to death or something. We don't know that yet, said Sakura. My fist did not mete out justice based on a simple speculation. Is that... That's Sakura. Sakura tried to get near Makoto to examine his wounds, but Monokuma stood in her way, shouting, "Don't come any closer!" This meant that Makuro was the only one who could get close to Makoto. She had ended countless lives on the battlefield. She knew from Well, I guess... Would Makuro have her... There's no reason for Makuro to have her life erased, right? Her memories erased. And she's remembering things from outside of school life, so that makes sense. If she didn't treat Makoto's wounds, he would die. His wounds were not immediately fatal, but if he continued losing blood, he would eventually slip into shock and die shortly thereafter. Please, you need to treat Makoto first. Absolutely not, said Byakuya, harshly interrupting Makuro. Tying you up and examining the back of your right hand is our first priority. Hey, Makoto's in danger. Now's not the time for that, said Aoi, as she cast a worried glance at Makoto. She was still having trouble understanding the situation and hadn't decided if Makoto was suspicious or not. Byakuya was about to snap back at her, but Makuro's actions stunned him into silence. She took a deep breath, and then... Makuro removed the blonde wig from her head. Oh, it was blonde? I thought Junko had, like, pinkish hair. Oops. Where there were two long blonde pigtails only a moment before, there was now short black hair. Was blonde in the original version? Very well could have been. Was she pink in 2? Is that what I'm thinking of? She cleared her face of all emotion, and when she spoke, her voice rang throughout the gym. I'm not Junko Onishima. Oh, like concept art and stuff? She's always had pink hair in the game. Gotcha. I'm not Junko Onishima. My name is Makuro Ukusaba. The student stared wide-eyed at her open confession. All she did was remove her wig and clear her emotions. But in doing so, the person the students had recognized as Junko Onishima vanished from their sight. The terrorist that had taken her place continued to speak in a calm, stoic tone. I helped lock everyone inside this academy. The confession on a seaside cliff moment has finally arrived. Is that a reference to something in particular? Goes over me. Well, wigs are against school regulations, Junko. I mean, Makuro, shouted Taka. As if stirred by their cries of excitement, the other students began clamoring among themselves. Huh? Said Yasuhiro. So, Makoto's wounds are, like, real? Does that mean that stuff about terrorists and whatever is all real too? So, everything that's happened these past few days wasn't a bunch of staged events? As the reality of the situation began dawning on Yasuhiro, all Leon could say to him was, "Shut the hell up!" Byakuya just remained calm, and addressed Makuro in a condescending manner. Well, Leon should have been dead by this point, right? Because if Sayaka's dead, Leon's definitely... Well, no. No. Leon would be here, because at the end of this whole process, then we'd kill Leon. Doi. Yeah. Byakuya just remained calm and addressed Makuro in a condescending manner. What does your group want? If you were after money, you would have already tried to negotiate with me. Of course, I'd rather let them die than surrender to your ransom demands. Our purpose is to fill the world with the despair. Byakuya scoffed at this notion and began to speak once again. I see. Monokuma said something similar. So, that ideology is what fuels your terrorism. It's true. If you did anything to me, you would certainly fill the world with despair. But obviously that would be impossible for you. Aoi couldn't believe what Byakuya was saying and frowned as she muttered, "How self-centered can you be?" After confirming that Byakuya had no more questions for her, Mikuru looked at Makoto, whose breathing had slowed, and let her voice show some emotion. "But Makoto has nothing to do with this. You can't believe what Monokuma says." "What'd you say, bitch?" shouted Mondo. "I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're a terrorist, just like Monokuma said." Mikuru looked away from Mondo and continued speaking. "That's true, but Makoto isn't involved at all." Celeste coldly brushed her objection aside. "I do not think trying to protect him will do you any good. After all, we heard Makoto call you by your real name. That's..." She had no words. There was nothing she could say to protect Makoto. Even though Makoto was truly innocent. Though Mikuru was the ultimate soldier, her powers were largely limited to battle. Even a normal high school student could outwit her when it comes to debate and negotiation. If she were the ultimate negotiator, she might be able to convince them that their memories had really been erased. But in her current situation, if she tried to bring up their memory loss, they would think it was a desperate excuse. Even Mikuru knew that. But even if she didn't know what to say, she still knew what to do. "Right now, we need to treat Makoto first." And then she started walking toward Makoto as if nothing had happened. To the others, it seemed like Mikuru had decided to abruptly change the subject. "Hold it. We will immediately take Makoto to the nurse's office for treatment. However, we must tie you up." This was Sakura's honest demand. But there's no way Mikuru could accept it. If she was separated from Makoto, there'd be no telling what Monokuma would do to him. And between Mondo's hot temper and Byakuya's cold heart, Makoto could easily sustain further injuries under the pretense of interrogation. Furthermore, among these students, Mikuru knew she was the only one who had experienced treating wounds due to her time with Fenrir. After mulling that over, she narrowed her eyes and went silent. Her mind was made up. She was determined to fight her way out of here and escape with Makoto. "I apologize, but I need you to fall asleep right now." As she said that, Sakura instantly positioned herself behind Mikuru. She was completely within her blind spot. To a normal person, it would have seemed like Sakura had suddenly vanished. After moving faster than any human being could see, Sakura's equally fast hands launched a blow toward the back of Mikuru's neck. However... "Sorry, Sakura, but I need to get out of here." Mikuru parried Sakura's fist with a spinning roundhouse kick. Ugh. Sakura raised an eyebrow at the unexpected counterattack. Mikuru tried to use the momentum of her kick to sweep Sakura's feet out from under her. However, Sakura dodged and instinctively struck back against Mikuru's pivot leg. Okay. But Mikuru was faster and jumped up, aiming a tornado kick at Sakura's chin. Sakura deflected the attack with one arm. Then both combatants leapt backwards, glared, and charged simultaneously. Every blow they dealt was parried and countered by the other, and though they were both unarmed, the sound of their battle echoed throughout the gym. It was like a typhoon had been compressed to the size of a car and set loose inside the gym. The other students were powerless to stop them. All they could do was stare at the breathtaking dance of death unfolding before them. That's a solid band name, not gonna lie. Dance of Death. See that being like a folk funk or like ska band. After 10 minutes had passed, the enormous sound of one final impact rang throughout the gym. Two warriors leapt back once again and breathed heavily as they stared each other down. My mistake. Though it's only been a few days, I cannot believe I did not notice such an impressive fighter was hiding among us. In addition to the surprise Sakura felt, it was as if the battle had left her energized. I'm sure that's already a man. I don't doubt it. I could also see it being like some sort of metal band, like doom metal or something. Mikuru, on the other hand, looked down at her arm, confirmed it had been wounded during the battle, and thought to herself, "She's strong. I don't think Sakura's even taking this seriously right now." Despite being constantly surrounded by firearms, blades, traps, and explosives during her time with Fenrir, this was the first time she'd ever been wounded. Was this a Gaara moment? Did Sakura just break through Mukuru's sand shield? Mukuru is powerless before the might of the woman known as the ultimate martial artist, and the strongest woman in the world. Just as I thought. I can't beat Sakura with my bare hands alone. If she had been directly ordered to kill Sakura, Mukuru would have opted to either snipe her from a distance or poison her. Nice. At this close range, she would need an assault rifle just to stand a fighting chance. I don't have time for this. She looked at Makoto and confirmed that his breathing had grown even shallower. I need to hurry. But at that moment, she had no one to turn to for help. Suddenly, Mukuru had an idea. What's Monokuma doing this entire time? Like, just chilling? Just relaxing, maxing by the... It was true that gaining an ally in the situation was impossible. However, she could still turn one person to her enemy's enemy. Mukuru took a deep breath before she charged at Sakura. Then she immediately fainted and charged at a different girl. Toko, who had been cowering in fear from the battle between Sakura and Mukuru in the corner of the gym. Oh, right, the hacker. Right. Okay, right. This is bad. Sakura was caught off guard and tried to run after her, but Mukuru was one step ahead and reached Toko first. Why me? I'm sorry. Wait. Mukuru jabbed Toko in her solar plexus, and she fell into her arms. Taka and Aoi yelled out in shock. This is bad. She plans to use Toko as a hostage. Toko! In contrast to their shocked faces, Byakuya just snickered and coldly remarked, You fool. Do you really think we'd care if you take someone we just met a few days ago as your hostage? Mukuru just softly glanced at Byakuya and replied, You didn't meet her a few days ago. What did you say? You met her 2 years ago. Byakuya scowled. Mukuru ignored him and held her bloody arm in front of Toko's face. And then she yelled into her ears. Wake up, Genocide Jack! It seemed so random and out of place. Why would Mukuru mention the name of the notorious serial killer right now? The students looked at each other with confusion when suddenly, Toko, who had been groaning in pain, suddenly kicked off of the floor of the gym with renewed vigor. She leapt into the air much higher than any normal human should have been able to. Oops. While hovering several meters in midair, Toko twirled faster than a professional figure skater. This caused her skirt to flutter, revealing multiple pairs of sparkling scissors. Oh. Okay. Countless tally marks were scattered into her legs, like a kill count carved into a fighter jet. If not for the situation, Toko's glamorous jumps and spins would have been a sight to behold. The girl formerly known as Toko Fukawa cackled wildly. Her red eyes sparkling as her absurdly long tongue flopped out of her mouth. I don't want to think about it. You called for me and so I appear. I've got to murder IOU for YOU. Yeah, ha. Toko? The situation had changed so drastically that Did Mukuru wake up Genocide Jack to explicitly say, hey, recount your memories because you still have them? Because that was the entire plot point used at the very end of the first one, right? That Genocide Jack, whoever. Oh, what was their Japanese name? Genocide Show, right? Saying, hey, we have these memories, and this is gonna iron out part of what happened during these missing 2 years. Genociders, yo. Close. The situation changed so drastically that even Sayaka, who was silent up until now, spoke up. Hey, you flash in the pan. Don't treat Genocide Jack like that depressing little Four Eyes. Well, Multiverse. Yo, with that Twitch, baby. Thank you for the 9 months. Holy shit. Welcome back. The call started. All right. All right, all right, all right. I guess this is where we're gonna have to call Danganronpa for the night. How much more do we have to go with this? For those of you who have finished this, how are we still early in? Oh, do we have a couple more hours left? What's anyone remember? If it helps, we're around, was this the 220 page mark? Insert bookmark. Cool. If you didn't insert a bookmark, you'll lose all progress. Well, I just went in, so there we go. Love this music. Yo, there's a lot of... So is this there's a lot of really cool stuff happening here. I don't know how to take it, right? Is this entirely AU? And it doesn't really matter? Or is this going to come into play in, other media down the line? Or is this going to come back into play in our main series? I really like the events that are happening in this, though. It's really, really, really cool. Really cool. Oh. Following novel contains references to characters who appeared in Danganronpa 0. Does that mean that Danganronpa... Does 0, recount the events of the tragedy and how the remnants of despair formed in those missing 2 years? Or does it go on before that? Also, I just noticed this isn't Junko. This is fake Junko. She's got the bunny. How great would it have been if the rabbit was Asami and it's pink instead of being white? But okay, so it's got the bunny and the bow instead of the Monokuma clips. Interesting. Interesting. Anyways, guys, yeah, this has been a blast. We're gonna be swapping over into some D&D now. I appreciate anyone who's chilling here for the story time. I guess we'll probably include this as a VOD. About 1/3 done? Okay. So, if an hour and a half was about 1/3, we'll probably finish tomorrow. Yeah, we'll probably finish tomorrow. And then... I'll find out something to do on Saturday or something. We'll see. I might play more Genshin. We might start speedrunning stuff. We'll see. We'll see. Thanks for sticking around, guys. See you next time.